Duo, NBA history, talking about 30-plus each in consecutive games. Well, that led to Stan Van Gundy, the analyst of the NBA Western Conference Finals, saying that this is the best offensive backcourt in the history of the NBA. He said most talented is the direct quote. Yeah. Offensive backcourt in the history of the NBA. We've seen a lot of talented backcourts, a lot of them, but this has been the most polarizing conversation in sports thus far, so glad you are here for it. James Jones, what is your response to Luka and Kyrie being the most talented offensive backcourt in NBA history?
Yeah, I think talented is the thing
that's the operative word there. Yes, sir.
That's the one that stands out because I agree. When you talk about Kyrie Irving, we talk about Kyrie Irving as one of the greatest talents we've seen in the NBA with this ball in his hands in the history of the NBA. The way Kyrie Irving can finish, the way Kyrie Irving can get through 3, 4, 5, 6 people at a time. Kyrie Irving is like that. And then when you look at Luka, Luka is the same way. With the ball in his hands, how Luka is able to create. We always talk about Luka playing at his own pace. He ain't fast, he ain't strong, he ain't quicker than everybody. But somehow he finds ways to get buckets year after year after year. And when I look at these two, I don't think there's a backcourt that has what they have with the ball in their hands being the most talented. Yes, you have the Steph Currys and the Klay Thompsons, but we praise Klay Thompson off of not dribbling, catching the ball, getting it out of his hands, shooting. Greatest shooting backcourt, but most talented. I don't even really think it's close when you talk about what Luka and Kyrie brings to this game with that basketball in their hands. I think this is the most talented backcourt that we've seen ever.
You mentioned two people, so let me further that. I would say that it is Klay and Steph. And the reason is shooting is a talent. Now, is Klay as good a dribbler as Kyrie Irving? Is Klay as good a talented overall player as Luka Dončić? I don't believe so, but shooting is a talent. They literally got a nickname, the Splash Brothers. And not only did they get a nickname based upon their ability to do one thing that classifies as a talent, which is shoot, their talent translated because they won chips, plural, multiple of them. So not only did Steph and Klay actually accomplish what Luka and Kyrie hope to accomplish, and I do believe they have a good chance in accomplishing it and winning a chip, but if shooting is a talent and Steph and Klay shoot better than any backcourt we have ever seen in the history, so much so that it led them to 4 championships and so much so that they got a nickname, for me, I have to lean into the Steph and Klay backcourt being the most talented. Because of the shooting ability, because of Steph's ability. Steph's the one that's a top 10, top 12 player of all time right now. Luka isn't, Kyrie isn't. Luka could get there, Kyrie, I believe that ship has sailed. Luka could get there, but Steph is the one who would be greater than all 4 of those names that I have mentioned thus far, 3 other names excluding Steph. Joy, what do you say? Because you've been covering the sport for a long time. Most talented backcourt, Luka, Kyrie, are they?
Talented. I mean, I default to saying no because I do think that what you accomplish together as a backcourt has to matter. But I think if we're separating them as individual talents and examining them as individuals, okay, so then there are 2 great players that are playing together. But they're also playing well together, which is why we are referring to them as this duo together. It's tough for me because once a hyperbolic statement like this is made, then we have to go back and examine what has come before this duo. And then we have to examine what this duo has actually done together. As individual talents players, you can make that argument because Luka is an individually extremely talented player. Kyrie is an individually extremely talented player. I would also mention Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And then you're looking at some of the other combinations of backcourts that have won multiple championships together. I mean, you have Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. They have 4 championships together. Michael Jordan and Ron Harper have 4 championships together. Kobe Bryant and Derek Fisher have 5 championships together. So it's not all about championships, obviously, because then you look at who was coaching these teams and what other teammates did they have and what kind of system did they run and how much did that play a role in the dynastic nature of some of these backcourts that we're mentioning. So I think if we siphon off and say who are the 2 most talented together, because Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time, but is Ron Harper as okay, but is Luka?
I'm just saying.
I hear you. I hear you. But is Luka the greatest player of all time?
No, he's not.
Is Kyrie Irving better than Ron Harper?
No question.
Is Luka as close to Michael? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is why these conversations get very, debatable, because I do think surfacely they are 2 extremely talented players, and maybe this statement is true. How much does the championships matter? I don't know. I still would say Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, though.
2-5, where you at?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. I mean, I think Luka is phenomenal. He's a hell of a player. So is Kyrie Irving. You talk about talent, they are super talented, but when I just watch Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they changed the game of shooting. you can't tell me that shooting is not a skill, it's not a talent. The way that you talked about Clay, I guess, I don't know if it was a shot or not, because he scored a certain amount of points when not dribbling the ball, but that's hard as hell to do. Think about that for a second.
60 points.
And another thing is winning championships does matter. When we talk about the most talented, most skilled backcourt of all time, since basketball started to right now, yeah, they accomplished something. And Joey always talks about updating your information. Now, if they win a championship, then we can revisit this, right? And we'll talk about it. But today, it has to be Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And another thing I want to talk about.
I'll talk about it.
What about defense, right?
Yeah, Klay was a two-way player.
Luka, I mean, he has good defensive moments. He don't play defense, right? And then I will say it's Kyrie Irving, right? He plays solid defense. He don't play the defense like Klay did in his prime. Your best player, I got him. Am I tripping?
Not at all.
So when you talk about the best court of all time, yeah, it's a lot of offense.
Yeah.
But it's some defense too. And the last thing is Steph Curry, I mean, he's changed the game forever, right? We watching playoff games, from the Celtics to the Mavs, where these dudes are shooting over threes. You missing more threes. Yeah. Who does that? The Golden State Warriors. So if you ask me the best backcourt of all time, it's them light-skinned boys.
Best shooting backcourt, because he said talent.
And he said offensive, for clarity.
Exactly. He said
the most talented offensive backcourt.
And usually when you say...
Who's the most talented offensive player out of all these guys we're talking about?
Steph Curry is, but Klay Thompson ain't got what these dudes got. And that's what I'm saying. We're talking about these two together, right? There's nobody well, I ain't going to talk for y'all. I'm not taking Klay Thompson and putting him on the Dallas Mavericks over Luka. I'm not taking Klay Thompson and putting him on the Dallas Mavericks or the starter franchise over Kyrie. He's not like that. Now, the shooting, I'm saying what these guys have. Klay Thompson does not have the talent.
You got some, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not trying. Listen.
He forgot.
I'm not trying to disrespect Klay. I know Klay Thompson is one of the greatest shooters to ever play this game.
Yes, sir.
But Klay Thompson is not one of the greatest players in our game with that ball in his hands. Point blank, period. Not like these dudes.
I got a question.
And the talent of these dudes with the ball in their hands.
Here's my thing, though, James. Here's my thing. You said the ball in their hands. Klay Thompson gave you 60 points with 11 dribbles. Only way to give you 60 points is if the ball is in your hand and leaving your hand and then going into the net.
Catch and shoot.
No doubt about it.
But that's very hard to do.
This wouldn't even be a topic if we said greatest shooting backcourt. It ain't even a topic.
But it's offensive that's implied.
Talent. With what you can do with this basketball and what these two dudes can do with this basketball, dribbling, getting to the cup, shooting the three, whatever it is, they have more offensive talent than Klay Thompson. Am I tripping?
No, I see what James is saying, I believe, what I'm hearing. Let me not say what you're saying. You're talking about offensive gamut, like the array of skill. You're talking about...
That's what he's saying.
But if Klay is a better shooter, then Kyrie might be a shooter and finisher. That his ability to shoot counts. Like, it counts so much so because he's such a good shooter.
So Acho, are you sitting here saying that Klay Thompson is a better offensive talent than Kyrie Irving? Because this is what he's saying. Is that what you're telling me?
We're talking about...
Thank you.
Hold on.
Why not?
Hold on. First of all, we have to go back to the prime, all right? We're not talking about today, because this is about in NBA history. He didn't say today, right now. He said in NBA history, which means we got to go all the way back to like Walt Frazier, Earl Monroe. We got to go all the way back. So we're thinking of these players in their prime. Travel back through your mind. Think of the Splash Brothers, right? Yeah. Okay, so Steph Curry in his prime.
Greatest shooting
Klay Thompson
ever.
in his prime. Is Steph Curry in his prime better than Luka Dončić?
Of course. Yes. Of course.
Okay, so we're talking.
I don't think Klay's better than none of those two.
We're talking about the combination. We're not just talking about the best of the best. So this is why I don't like these conversations, because it makes it sound like we're hating on Luka and Kyrie, and Luka and Kyrie are spectacular.
Hey, trust me, I just felt like I hated on Klay. I'm not trying to hate on Klay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, as soon as somebody has a moment, we have to jump to like, this is the greatest thing we've ever seen, and maybe sometimes it is, but we don't have to Shady's point, the conclusion of this story. This series isn't even over. I know it's like kind of over, but it isn't over. Like, there's still things that can be written. If they don't win a championship this year, are we going to say they're the most talented backcourt in NBA history?
But I think
if they lose in 5 in the finals, are we saying that?
Well, all I'm saying is I don't even think that's what Stan is saying. Stan is saying with what he's watching, the offensive skill that both these dudes have is absolutely special. We have not seen two dudes in an offensive backcourt together with the talent that these dudes have. off the dribble, shooting the three, whatever you want, left hand, right hand, fade away, whatever. We have not seen it. Yes, is there one? Mike, Steph? Yes. Do they have help? Yes, but together with what these two dudes both have, I don't think we've seen that in two players.
And you have a valid point. I just can't take away from what Steph and Clay did.
I'm with you.
And it's like, yeah, if you ask me who's the greatest backcourt, that matters what you've done. Right, y'all finish it? We had some good moments in the playoffs with Luka and Kyrie. Kyrie's amazing. Luka's amazing. I've been picking them to win since day one. I love what I see with the Mavericks because they got that offense. But we can't act like the stuff in them did was not
acting like
spectacular.
That. Crazy.
And another thing is like we keep talking like because Clay can shoot. I've seen games where Steph hasn't shown up in the playoffs and Clay carry him. Did you forget? Because you forgot. Right? The dude that can't shoot, the dude can't dribble, he can't do this and all that other bull we talking about. I watched games, right, against OKC, right? Oh, let's go back to that first year, yeah, where Steph couldn't get it going. Because he's better than all these guys we're talking about, right? Steph is? Okay, couldn't get it going. Clay did. Yeah. I think we forget before the knee and the Achilles who he was.
Clay was different.
You forgot when they played the Rockets, when James Harden was cooking, this when James Harden used to cook, right, before he started choking. And Steph can't get it going first 3 quarters. Who did?
Clay.
Right? Then Steph finally got it going.
He's not a baller.
You tripping. Like, I get what you're saying. When you talk about skill, when it's more flashier, cool. But if you getting 30 points and you dribbling left hand, all this crazy stuff, nice, right?
Yep.
But I get my 30, pick and rolls, 3 balls off the screen. It's the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
The only reason why Stan is saying it,
what Stan
and he
talking
said
about?
talent, is because of what these dudes are doing with that rock in their hands.
I would have preferred the most offensive skilled.
Talent, skill, same thing.
It's not because I'm shading the fact that if you get your 30 with your ambidextrously and I get my 30 straight off the right hand.
So if I say, Acho, dang, man, you super skilled. Acho, you super talented. That's the same thing. And these two dudes with what they have.
But here's where it feels
to Clay, but
like it's dismissive to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson because, and this is why I don't like when we go to the best in NBA history. Like, okay, great, but what have they accomplished together? Like what Steph Curry and Klay Thompson did together, they elevated each other. Like it's about the combination of their talent. So I can't just put them above Steph Curry and Klay Thompson because they've had a nice stretch in in the Western Conference Finals, and they're spectacular. Like they're great to watch. They're both playing at a super high level. But we can't just forget what people did because we're watching something spectacular in the moment. Like what Steph Curry and Klay Thompson did transformed the sport. Like Steph being able to have Klay Thompson as talented as Klay Thompson was in that moment also helped elevate Steph because he had the ability to shoot those shots that he's been shooting. Because you have to worry about Klay Thompson over there off the catch and shoot. So I just can't. And shooting is a skill, and being able to catch and shoot is a skill. Like that is talent. We can't just define like the talent in the space that we want to say this is talent and this is not.
I'm just saying those two. First off, you can't put championships in it because these dudes ain't won one yet. And I for sure 100% know that ain't what Stan was talking about. You can't put winning in this. They ain't even been together long enough to win championships. These dudes are talented backcourt with the ball in their hands. There's a lot of talented dudes that's ranked or better than these dudes that's won championships, and we put them in front of them because of how talented they were. I'm telling you, these dudes, with how they can create for themselves on the basketball court offensively, and we're talking about offensive talent, I don't think Klay Thompson has the offensive talent of Luka and Kyrie with the ball in his hands.
I mean, you have a point, yeah. I mean, Kyrie Irving, he's amazing with the ball in his hand, and so is Luka. But another thing is, like, Klay Thompson and Steph really had dynasties, though, dog.
Correct.
Right? Think about that, though. So, like, I get what you're saying, but I can't look past success either, though, right? There's a lot of guys that had great moments together offensively, right?
We got to change the topic then.
Nah, keep talking about
talent.
Do you know Stan?
He didn't.
Wait, do you know Stan? Because
I don't know personally.
You don't?
But I'm going off of what he said.
Bro, I don't know him either. Do you know me?
I'm not switching
you know me, though, right?
words.
You know me. You know Joe. You know. So we gonna have our own topic, right?
Well, what's our topic then, so I can get in on it? Because y'all switching that thing.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.